Welcome to my YouTube channel, and in this video I'm going to take you through how I used to trade support and resistance. Now when you're a beginner trader, this is one of the concepts that you need to know. So you need to understand how to trade support and resistance. Now I'm going to show you in this video how I went from losing money to making money, understanding the following. So how I look at the charts was I would normally go to a 4-hour time frame, right? And let's just look at the clean chart. Right, okay. So when I will always start on a 4-hour, and how will I draw my support and resistance? There's different ways to look at the market, but for myself, what I've noticed with support and resistance is like some people will do support and resistance now, and then they will do the place the support there, they will use support there, they will say this is support. When you're a beginner, you will say that is support. Based on this, you will say that is support, that is resistance, because the price is bouncing off. I even had like a theory where I would say when price is below the current price, then that is support. When price is above the current price, this is the current price, then that is your resistance. There's a multiple ways to look at support and resistance, but just looking at this trade, this chart, it's so messy and it's so confusing. It even hurt my brain because just looking at it, I don't have clarity. Now when you do your technical analysis, you need to make sure your chart is as clean as possible. So what I used to do though with support and resistance, for me, if I would go to a 4-hour and I see multiple bounces off, or the peaks, this is a peak and this is a valley, right? And then that is a peak and that is a valley. If you look to your left, that is a peak, and then that is a valley, that is a peak. So what I would do is I will take my horizontal line and then I will connect. If this is one peak and there's another peak that lines up with this peak and this peak here, I will place a support there, or I would say it's a resistance. So that will be my resistance. But I'm currently here and I want to trade off this market. So let me just delete this valleys quickly. Take the valleys off. Alright. And then now I would always look to my left here on the 4-hour. Now I see this is a valley. This is a valley. This is also a valley that lines up with this valley. So, and then this is a peak. So what I would use is to connect the valleys and the peaks touches on those, and then that would be another resistance. And then what I would do is, this is how I used to trade. I don't trade like this anymore. And then what I would used to do is, now I'm looking for support, and then support would just be like the touch base where price was bouncing off. Now that was the way how I look. Sorry, no, I don't want to take that one away. I want to keep this one because I want to actually make an example. Now, how I've been taught previously is when you trade support and resistance, one thing you need to remember is once you see price bounces off your zone, that's when you buy. Because remember, now this is now a support. So this is your support. When you see support comes, the candles come here and it bounces off your support, then you buy, right? And then you want to sell when you see price bounces off a resistance. That's when you want to sell. So this is basically where you want to sell, because that is now your, let's make that a different color, that is now your support, your resistance I mean. But just check it, just check here, just pay attention to this area. You see, based on the previous, that's why support and resistance don't always work. This is the reason why. Price came down, the market came down to this resistance, to the support, current support, right? And then obviously because you see that price is resting, look at this candle. It did not break below it. So now you get in with a buy and you like buy. Boom. You go in big. You buy, put your stop loss right here. And look what happened. Price came all the way down and it took you out, right? And then after it took all of that, you lose that trade, it then went all the way up. But how will you prevent yourself from doing that? Even here, look at this. Price broke through here and then it came back up. So here you want to sell. But look at these wicks. That is why trading support and resistance in this way is not good, because yes, a resistance area is, it indicates where there will be a surplus of sellers, where the sellers will come into the market. But just because the price is currently at a resistance does not mean that it's going to sell, because look at this wick. This is what could happen to you. Even here, let's look at another example. Look at this here. So it broke through this support of resistance. You up here, you sell, it came back. Now you want to buy at the support, right? But then it broke through. Now you think, okay, it's breaking this resistance, I'm going to sell, and then price moved all the way up. So buying and selling buying at the support and selling at the resistance is not as simple as some people would say, because you need to understand you cannot just trade support and resistance based off that confluence. You need to have 1, 2, 3, 4 confirmations before you enter a buy or sell. You cannot just because the candles is now at the support, now you want to trade. So how I use support and resistance now, I will draw my support and resistance not based on those valleys and like low peak points and valley points. No, I use a line chart to spot the areas of let me just delete these zones quickly. Now a support and a resistance, you only have to look at what current price is doing. Looking at this currently where we are now, this is a live chart. You can see that you can even make it a zone right here, and then but it is a zone. It's not a level in this case. So what I'm looking at currently, I see that we are in a downtrend, right? But currently we are in a consolidation, if you can see here. So I'm basically looking for signs of break of structure. Now this doesn't mean anything to me at the moment, this support and resistance, because I don't trade support and resistance. That's not how I look at the market anymore. But what I want to show you, pay attention to the candlesticks. So for instance, let's go back to where I showed you now. I want to show you that example, right? Where there was a fake out. So in this case, what you want to do when you see this bearish, this is a support area, and this bearish candle, pay attention to the candlestick patterns. You need to understand the candlestick and where that candlestick was placed. Pay attention to the location, because where exactly was the candlestick printed. Now this bearish candle is telling us that the sellers are still in momentum here. The sellers are still having buying. The sellers are still more than the buyers in this current market. So prices are being pushed down and it breaks our resistance. Once it breaks, you think, okay, I'm going to sell. No, wait for this candle, the next candle to close, especially when there's a break in a resistance or support, because those candles, whatever's happened, if you see this doji, this would already tell you that morning star pattern, candlestick pattern is busy forming, and that is a sign that price is about to reverse to the upside. It's going to change direction from a downtrend into an uptrend. So therefore, you would have known if you waited for the next following candle after this bearish candle, and because it broke resisted support here, you wait for that, and that's how you trade. That's another tip that you can use when you trade support and resistance. Pay attention to the candles that following the breakout candle. Remember, pay attention to how the breakout, for instance, in this case here, right, the breakout candle was a bullish candle here, right here, but look how small is that bullish candle. That bullish candle does not take out the previous bullish. So that means that this is still valid, right? That means that this area is still valid as a resistance, because even though it broke here, this resistance level, but this bullish candle, look at the next candle. It's a bearish candle with the same body size. That is the Mariposa's. So that gives us an indication that price wants to come down. So that's what I mean with pay attention to the next following candle when there's a breakout in your resistance or your support.